had always loved driving at night. The stillness of the roads, the darkness that enveloped everything, it was calming to me in a way. I found myself seeking solace in the empty roads, with only the eerie glow of my headlights to guide me. But little did I know that one night drive would turn into a nightmare that I would never forget. It was a typical Friday night and I decided to take a drive into the countryside. It was a route I had taken many times before, the long winding roads surrounded by tall trees and the occasional farmhouse. But this time, something felt different. As I drove along, a sense of unease began to creep up on me. The darkness seemed to be even darker than usual, and the silence was almost deafening. I brushed it off as just being tired and continued on my journey. But as I made a sharp turn, I saw something that made my heart skip a beat. In the middle of the road stood a figure. It was a woman dressed in a long white dress. I hit the brakes, my car screeching to a halt just a few feet away from her. She stood there, her face hidden by her long dark hair, not moving an inch. I tried to shake off the fear that was creeping up on me and rolled down my window. "Are you okay?" I called out. But she didn't respond. I could feel my heart racing as I stepped out of the car, trying to get a better look at her. But as I got closer, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. Her white dress was stained with blood. I turned to run back to my car, but my legs felt like they were glued to the ground. Fear had taken over as I could feel the woman's presence behind me. I could hear her ragged breaths and the sound of her hair brushing against my skin. I closed my eyes, praying that this was all just a terrible nightmare. But when I opened my eyes, she was gone. All that was left was the eerie silence and the darkness that had seemingly grown thicker. I ran back to my car and sped off, my heart racing and my mind reeling with questions. Who was that woman? And why was she covered in blood? I couldn't shake off the feeling of dread that followed me as I continued my drive. No matter how fast I drove, I couldn't escape the feeling that I was being watched. My hands gripped the steering wheel tightly as I tried to make sense of what had just happened. But it was like a scene out of a horror movie, and I was the main character. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I saw something that made me slam on the brakes. It was a figure standing in the middle of the road. But this time, it wasn't just one person. There were dozens of them, all standing in a circle with their backs towards me. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest as I realized what was happening. This was a cult. I didn't know what to do. My mind was racing as I debated whether to turn around or to try and get past them. But before I could make a decision, my car suddenly shut off. I tried to start it again, but it wouldn't budge. My heart sank as I realized I was completely trapped. Without any other options, I got out of my car and cautiously approached the group of people. As I got closer, I could see that they were all dressed in black robes, their faces hidden behind white masks. They stood completely still, almost like statues. But then, they all turned their heads towards me in unison. I could feel my heart stop as they began to slowly walk towards me, their footsteps echoing in the silence of the night. I turned to run back to my car, but I could feel their outstretched hands reaching for me, trying to pull me back. As I struggled to break free, I heard a voice whisper in my ear, "You can never leave this place." And just like that, everything went dark. When I woke up, I was back in my car, parked on the side of the road. It was morning now, and the sun was shining brightly. I couldn't believe what had just happened. Was it all just a dream? But as I looked down at my hands, I could see the stains of dirt and blood, as if I had been in a struggle. I quickly drove back home, trying to shake off the horrifying events of the night. But every time I close my eyes, I can still hear the whispers and feel the hands reaching for me. And I know that no matter how many night drives I take, I will never be able to escape the horrors of that one fateful night.